They took my badge with a grin. No warning, no gratitude, no decency, just a cold corporate escort to the elevator. The kind that tells you it was always personal, never about performance. I had poured myself into that project. Sleepless nights, missed birthdays, and every ounce of my technical soul had been coded into that $47 million platform. It wasn't just a system, it was my legacy. And in a sterile meeting room on the 41st floor, they tore it from me like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. The irony? I wasn't even surprised. The signs had been there. Whispers in the break room that stopped when I entered. The sudden reshuffling of departments. The way my name disappeared from key email threads. They wanted the system, not the man behind it. I was too outspoken, too independent. I didn't play their politics, didn't grovel before titles, or bend to bureaucracy. So, when the final phase of testing wrapped and the product was ready for launch, they did what they thought was clever. Cut me loose before the spotlight hit. Keep the glory, ditch the builder. Classic move. But here's the thing. They forgot one detail, just one. A single critical thread, woven deep in the architecture of that platform. Something only I knew. Not out of spite, not as sabotage. It wasn't even hidden. It was just necessary. A core function, part of a fail-safe loop that ensured everything ran clean, secure, scalable, and sane. I called it Sentinel. And without Sentinel's key, the system couldn't verify its primary authentication routes. In simple terms, without me, the whole thing was a shiny $47 million paperweight. They didn't know, not yet, so I walked. I didn't protest. I didn't beg. I took my final paycheck and nodded to the two security guys flanking me, like I might grab a server blade and start a riot. But I wasn't angry, not then. I was calm, the kind of calm that only comes when you know something. They don't, when the clock is ticking, and no one hears it but you. I went home, sat in my apartment with the curtains half drawn, poured myself a drink I couldn't afford a week ago, and I waited. One day. That's all it took. The launch was scheduled for Friday, at 9 a.m. sharp. They had balloons in the lobby, catered breakfast, name tags, printed with Innovation Architect, undertitles for people who hadn't written a single line of code. The new CTO was all smiles on the live stream. Today, he declared, marks a revolution in enterprise intelligence. We are proud to unveil the system that will redefine workflow. Automation for the global market. Big words, big mistake, because when they hit go, when they pushed that polished little deploy button on their sleek touchscreen dashboard, the platform came alive. Then asked a question, one prompt, one sentence. Awaiting Sentinel verification. Please insert master key. It wasn't dramatic. It didn't crash. It didn't flash red or self-destruct. No, it just waited, silent, patient, unbothered by their panic. And oh, there was panic. At first, they thought it was a permissions issue. Tier 1 engineers scrambled to troubleshoot the root directory. They tried admin override, then DevOps protocol. But every command fed back the same message. Master key not detected. Authentication incomplete. System locked. By noon, the boardroom was full, not with celebration, but with silence. Nervous whispers. Cold stares. Because every second the platform stayed offline, clients were losing money, promises were being broken, and reputations were dissolving in real time. And then it happened. My phone rang. Unknown number. But I knew the area code. It was them. I let it ring twice before I answered. Calmly, like I'd been waiting for a call from an old friend. Evan, the voice said. It was Parker, the new CTO. Voice shaky, but trying to sound confident. Hey, listen, we seem to have a minor hiccup with the rollout. Some kind of access loop, probably just a legacy config issue. You available to jump on a call? I paused. Let the silence settle. then replied, the system's asking for Sentinel, isn't it? He didn't answer right away. Then, you knew. I built it, I said. Of course I knew. There was a beat of silence, and then the corporate tone dropped. Look, Evan, we know things ended poorly, but we could really use your help here. This thing is burning millions by the hour. Whatever you need, name it. I smiled, not out of spite, but satisfaction. They'd dismissed me like a temp, and now they were coming back, desperate for the thing only I could provide. So I made them wait, not long, just long enough to remember that every key system, every clever shortcut, every security bridge, they all bore my fingerprint. I had spent 2 years building it from scratch, not to hoard power, but to make it bulletproof, to make it real. And they thought they could slap a new badge on it and take the credit. So I told him I'd help. Of course I did. But I had conditions. First, my name would be restored, not buried in the documentation, not tucked into a line of code. I wanted front page credit, architect, creator. Second, every executive involved in my termination would personally sign a letter acknowledging my contributions on company letterhead. No vague language, no PR spin, full ownership. And third, a contract, 7 figures, 5-year non-compete waiver, full IP rights retained on any derivative systems I touched. There was silence on the other end. I could almost hear Parker calculating, weighing pride against profit. But he knew the math. The platform was dead without me. 30 minutes later, the paperwork was on my desk. I walked back into that building the next day, not as an employee, but as a contractor. They issued a new badge. Platinum this time. Funny, isn't it? Yesterday, I was escorted out. Today, the CEO himself shook my hand in the lobby, flanked by lawyers and PR reps, like I was royalty. I walked past the same cubicles, where eyes once glanced away from me, past the same execs who'd sipped champagne when I was let go. They didn't say much now, just nodded, quiet, respectful, afraid. I entered the secure dev room, sat at the same workstation they hadn't touched, because no one knew how to configure my development shell. Typed in one line, inserted the master key, and the system roared to life. Just like that, a symphony of code, interfaces dancing to life, dashboards flickering with real-time analytics, global servers syncing in harmony. The room erupted in applause, but I didn't smile, not yet. I waited until the system settled, until the command queue cleared, and everything locked into perfect flow. Then I turned to Parker. Now you know what you fired. He didn't say a word, and I walked out, badge in my pocket, head high. But that's not the end. Over the next 6 months, that platform did exactly what I built it to do. Disrupted entire industries, streamlined global workflows. Clients called it a miracle of modern engineering. My name was on every article, every keynote, every TED Talk. I became the face of the future they nearly erased. And the executives who fired me, 1 resigned. 2 were quietly moved to advisory roles. Parker, he stayed, but every time he stepped on stage, every time he presented my system, he knew the truth. They tried to erase me from the story, but they didn't realize I was the story. Now people call me a genius. Some say I played the long game, that I coded revenge into the system from day one. But that's not true. I never wanted revenge. I wanted recognition, respect. What I got was power. Not power from titles or corner offices. Real power. The kind that comes from knowing the system runs because of you. Because of what you built when no one else understood it. Because while they were busy climbing ladders and polishing resumes, you were crafting the foundation beneath their feet. They took my badge and laughed. They're not laughing anymore. And me, I'm building again. A new system. Bigger, smarter, cleaner, and this time, there's no board to cut me out. No CEO to claim it. No badge to take. Just code and control. Because if this journey taught me anything, it's this. Don't fight for a seat at their table. Build your own and program the